everyone, thank you for joining me today for the Holiday Card Series Day 5. And this is Cindy from clbcraftcreations.blogspot.com. Today we're going to be making this beautifully gold embossed gatefold card using the Bright and Beautiful stamp set like we've been featuring this week. We're going to use the largest of the star images as well as the wishing you a bright and beautiful Christmas and New Year sentiment for the middle or the inside. We're also going to be using the stars framelits that coordinate with this set. And this is definitely a very heavy embossing video. You certainly could shorten some of this by using gold foil, the gold foil that we have, but I wanted to match the embossing powder exactly, and then it also gives me an opportunity if I want to do it in any other color that I could do that as well. So you'll understand what I mean when we get into the card. But it also has a matching envelope since it is a square. It is a 5x5 square gatefold card, and so you will need to make an envelope, and it will require additional postage for this size envelope. But if you're only going to make a few of these, I think the statement is it's definitely a very elegant card. And today we are actually going to make this card using cherry cobbler. And so let's get started. So our card base is going to be 5 by 10, and then we score it at 2.5 on each side to get our gatefold, and then that would just fold over and then meet in the center. So that is fine. We'll go ahead and set that aside. Let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and make the edges or my gold paper. So I'm just taking a piece of Whisper White that measures 4 3/4 by 4 3/4, and I'm taking my Versamark ink pad and I'm just running it down the sides. All 4 sides. Move this sheet out of the way. Like I said, this gives you the opportunity to match whatever cardstock or stamping that you're going to do. And since we're doing gold, again, you could have used the gold foil, but if we were to use any of our embossing powders, you could match it with our coordinating cardstock. That's what I love about Stampin' Up! Is that we have all the coordinating colors. Okay, so this does not have to be precise and exact. As long as you're going to have a nice edge around your cardstock, that's fine. Set aside that real quick, and then we'll bring in our Very Vanilla. This is cut at 4.5 by 4.5. Again, it's a square for our square card. I am working rather quickly because I want to make sure that my Versamark doesn't dry before I have an opportunity to get everything heat embossed. So taking the sentiment for the inside of the card, ink that up real well with Versamark. I'm going to put this slightly towards the top but centered so that there's room for my personal message. Okay. Stamp nicely. Go ahead and make sure you clear off where I already did that. Now this stamp is very large, so I bring my ink to the block. That way I can ensure that it gets fully covered. Okay, it's nice and inked. Now we'll stamp that. Give it nice firm pressure to make sure that you transfer the ink in all the spots. Okay, that's good. I'm going to blow it. Make sure I get all the stray embossing powder away. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and start heat setting. Okay, now we do actually have one other piece that we needed to ink up, and that is this piece here, the star on the outside. So I went ahead and already die cut the piece, the larger star in that set, and this is just on a piece of Whisper White cardstock. Since we're covering it with the gold embossing, it didn't really require the very vanilla. So then the same thing, you just want to swipe your Versamark pad across the edges, and then we will be right back. We have everything embossed with our gold embossing powder. Okay, and now we will start. I'm going to go ahead and die cut this star so that we can have that ready for the front, and I'll be right back. We're going to go ahead and start assembling. Take our inside sentiment, and you want to use extra adhesive when you're embossing because the paper tends to warp and curl a little bit, and you don't want the recipient of your card to have a card that's all peeled up. So make sure that you use either a really strong adhesive or a little extra, just to make sure that everything stays nice and flat and smooth. And then we're going to line that up on the card. Smooth out your edges as you okay. And again, if you're using gold, you certainly could use any of our foil paper. That works just as fine too, but like I said, I wanted the versatility of being able to make it match the embossing that I did. Okay, so it's done. We'll go ahead and we will add this now to the center of our card. Again, a little extra adhesive. Bring in our card base. Center that up in the middle. That is just beautiful. Okay, and we're almost finished. And then for the outside, I decided that I want to change it just a little bit. Get my bone folder and crease these up a little bit. Make sure they're staying flat. Okay. And so thankfully I actually embossed enough that I can do this. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn them on their, instead of having like point, so that now they have opposite points, and I think that looks really beautiful too. So again, with the embossing, if you want to take I did this on the last one, if you want to take your bone folder and just kind of curl the edges of your star slightly, that will help with some of the warping that you get from making the embossing. But I'm going to use dimensionals on this, and so I'm going to make sure that it sticks nice and well. So let's make sure that it looks like I'm only going to be able to put the dimensionals in the middle. So let's get our dimensionals. Again, I want to make, but, so here we take, line this up, point to point, try and get that as centered as possible. Looks good. Okay, there we go. And then you can decide how if you want your gold point to be at the top and your red at the bottom, or if you want, again, it's purely up to you. Gotta make sure get those lined up. And down we go. There is my card. Is that beautiful? And then, since this is a 5x5 card, You will need to make your own envelope, unless of course you get you purchase the square envelopes. But if you wanted a coordinating envelope, then you will most likely need to make it. So I'm going to bring in the envelope punch board. And I love this little tool. It's very versatile. And so for our card, we're making a for our envelope, it's a 5 by 5. So you need to cut your paper at 8 1/8 by 8 1/8, which I've done already. And then we're going to line it up with the 4 1/8. So you just find your 4 1/8 here. And then however you choose to do it, punch and score, or score and punch. It's purely up to you. And then you're going to line that next piece up with your scored mark. Punch, score, punch, score. Okay, and then I'm also going to round all of the corners. Now there is a top and bottom to this, so when you line them up, now see that was, I actually got it right the first time, amazingly, but if I were to do it this way, it would not line up right. You'd have the little edge still here, and you're probably not sure if you can see that. But to make sure that you get a nice clean finished, so you want to make sure that you check your sides. And then, and I'm going to use Fast Fuse, which is a very nice strong adhesive. If you're used to using sticky strip, use that as well. I prefer my adhesive in dispensers, so sticky strip and I are not on a friendly basis. For sticky. Okay, put that down, and there is our coordinating envelope. There we go. And you are done. I hope that you liked today's card projects. Thank you for joining me. Please hit the like button if you are enjoying this series and you want to see more. Would love to hear your comments if you have any. And please hit the subscribe button so that you can catch all of the upcoming videos in this series as well as any additional in the future. Head on over to my blog at clbcraftcreations.blogspot.com for all of the dimensions and details and links on how to order the products that I used in today's cards. And I will check in with you next time. Thanks, guys. Bye.